Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks, a gay geek podcast where we talk about all sorts of geeky things. Sometimes the knowledge is like brilliant, but other times it's a little bit
incomplete.
That's John, I'm Nick, and Charlie Cox has not been responding to my text message. How Daredevil he!
It's silly, I love it.
We're here to talk about Daredevil because
we are.
Here we are.
Because it's just been on. The first 2 episodes premiered on the same day. Was it Wednesday? I don't know. Are they doing Wednesday again? I completely missed the exact day.
I don't know. I just kind of watched it today. Is the music the same? Is it the same music or have they changed it a bit?
They hinted at the music in the very first part, like before the new intro. There's a leitmotif of the previous music smattered throughout, but I don't think they're keeping it all the same. There's hints of it, which I think is part of their strategy. I think we'll get to that. But so the first 2 episodes, spoilers if you haven't seen them, go watch them and then come back to us. Or if you don't care, keep listening.
Or if you don't care, just listen because we're going to spoil it and we'll tell you what happens.
Foggy dies! We're going to talk about the first 2 episodes. So welcome.
Here we go. Let's go.
You and I have not talked about it together.
No. It's been an emotional roller coaster for me because I thought like we'll see, and then I was like, ugh, this is shit, and then I was like, ugh, this is boring, and then the last final fight scene was really good, so I was like, okay, fine. So yeah, emotional journey. Like mostly this phase for the show. Yeah. If I'm honest, what about you?
Is that the emotional journey that you've just described? Was that your journey for the whole first 2 episodes?
2, yeah.
Because that pretty much encapsulates how I felt.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say relatively the same thing, like exciting, like ready. And then I thought generally speaking, the first episode got a bit draggy. Like I was like, okay, what's going on? I get that it's exposition. We gotta set up new characters. We have to make it accessible for people who have not seen the Netflix shows, which I think is very important.
I know.
But then by the time we get to episode 2, it kind of pivots a little bit to the White Tiger character, and I'm like, where's this going? Okay, this is new. It was just enough to make me keep watching. And then in the very final 5 minutes, I literally said to the TV, "Fucking Matt, just do it. Just do what you want. Do what you got to do. I know you want to."
I literally as I was watching the second episode, I was texting my brother saying, "It doesn't have any of the grit or excitement of the original series. I wouldn't bother." And then the final fight happened. I was like, "Oh, there it is."
Okay, good.
There it is.
I was like, okay.
Oh my God.
I really hope they stick with that because I think that is a good.
It's the whole point of
plan.
It is this painful, gritty, real life, fuck me, this hurts fighting style that Daredevil does, which has made the show so unique and interesting.
Yes.
But that opens okay, so the opening scene.
Let's start with this because I agree. I think the fact that like they're fighting each other and whether or not because they have that trick with they do like their long one shots.
Yeah.
And you see especially, the 2, it didn't work.
It didn't work because the CGI was fucking asshole.
It was a little bit. It felt a little bit different, but we'll get to that. But I think the whole point, like we see Matt and whoever he's fighting, they're both like they need to take a breather and stuff. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it just feels more real.
But that was always the brilliant part of the Netflix shows. But
I agree.
It felt like Disney trying to replicate it, which I know it is, but like, when he swung in and it was a CGI thing, and then it was like out here looking at the thing. It was like in the Netflix one, it would be barely lit. You'd be right up here and you would feel everything, and it was trying to copy it but didn't do it in the same spirit. I don't know. It just didn't work.
I
for
guess what you mean,
me.
but are you talking about the moments where he's like swinging on the rooftops before that
All
big
that
fight scene,
crap.
or
But
are you
even
talking about the fight scene itself?
both,
Because I
because
think,
even when they did the one shot, which is a kind of an iconic thing of Daredevil, the hallway
yeah,
fight scene, is
yeah,
amazing. It's amazing.
it's well done. Yeah,
It just felt like, look, we're doing it too, guys. Look, we're cool kids. Look, we're doing it too. It's like Disney,
did you?
what are you doing? It's just I don't know. It just didn't look the same, and therefore I was like, why are you trying to make it the same? But that's me
Did you
being a
think
bitch. So
you are being a little bit of a bitch? I thought it was good.
no, I didn't
I thought it was
I
good, but
didn't
I thought
like
it
it.
was. I could
No.
tell it was different. I could
Mm.
tell they were trying to do it in the spirit of, but you couldn't really capture
No,
the
it didn't work.
grittiness. There, I mean, I do. We're talking about the intro fight scene where he's fighting. Are we
Bullseye.
saying it's Bullseye? Are we saying it's Bullseye?
Yeah, it's Bullseye.
Like
Same guy.
I I haven't actually seen season 3 of the Netflix shows, but
Was
it's
Bullseye
fine.
season 3? Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of, well, I'll explain that later. But like, basically, I wasn't sure if he was called that. Anyway, so there was a point in that initial fight scene when I was like, wait, what are they fighting for? Like, what's going on? Like, I completely forgot that it was like there's this sort of this tension about Foggy lying on the pavement outside, and I'm just like, they're just like throwing knives at each other back and forth. Like, where is this going? Whereas if you think about that one, the best fight scene they did in the hallway in season 1, where it's literally him fighting through to get to something.
Yeah.
He knew what it was there, and he was going into these side rooms,
Yeah.
and it was just one long shot, and you were drawn really well along with that storytelling. Whereas this one, you get like, okay, well, now we're going to shut these doors. Now there's a pool stuff to play with. That's fine. Now he's throwing knife. I kind of missed a lot of that knife throwing. Now we're in a hallway. Now we're on the rooftop. And I was like, hang on, this is too much of a, I get that you're trying to emulate that, but just try not, don't make it so fancy. I wasn't distracted by any CGI in the fight. I was distracted a little bit by the CGI of Daredevil on the rooftops. But I read somewhere that they were just trying to emulate the sort of the comic book scenes, whereas in the Netflix show, because they didn't have that CGI budget, they had to be kind of all a lot of close shots and quick cuts and everything. And I was like, okay, fine. It wasn't amazing, but you can tell that the Disney budget is there. I did like it. I felt like it was like you're just jumping straight into it.
I mean, I like that they jumped straight into it. I like that they had Foggy and Karen and then killed Foggy straight away. And they're like, remember this? We're not doing that. I liked that. However, that fucking opening scene where they're like laughing and fun in the bar, I'm like, fucking someone get killed now. This is painful. Like,
whatever. That's just
get us another drink, Betsy. Like, she keeps that shot up. Everybody gets shot now. Great, and you did fantastic.
I mean, it's Josie, not Betty, but
whatever. Josie gets. Did she get shot? I think she's fine actually. Was just like, it's such a trope, and I'm like, this is shit.
That's a trope in the comics, isn't it? He's always throwing people through Josie's glass window or whatever. Yeah, Josie's from comics. How do I know this and not you?
I don't care.
I watch me videos. I thought it was right, but then I think when it gets into the whole 1 year later, I think it kind of you're just like I feel like I was being dragged along a little bit.
Yeah, and I know I'm a hypocrite. And that's fine. We're all hypocrites in a way.
Yeah.
We continually ask for shows that have more episodes because we don't have time with these characters. We don't have time to let the characters breathe and grow.
And now we have an episode where the characters breathing.
We have 18 episodes in this season, apparently.
No. Episode. We have 9 in this season, and then the other 8 or 7 or whatever is season
they're
2,
doing a break.
Next year.
Suck a dick. That's a bullshit move.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
It's all about the money.
Okay, fine. Yeah, because I was going to say, I can't do this for 18 episodes. I was like, I immediately take back everything I said because it's not interesting to have you talk about courtroom fucking procedures and go to a diner with the new mayor. I'm like, this is boring. He's not done anything. All he's doing is listening. It's like, he is a superhero. Let him superhero.
Yeah. Where's that balance for you then? Where's the balance between being a superhero and then being like, and then letting the character be a what's an alter ego, like a regular person hero kind of thing. It's
Make it
like
fun and interesting or
struggling with the
engaging. Was
yeah.
mopey and boring and, oh, here's my girlfriend. Oh, got a girlfriend. Oh, we're gonna wolf on. It's like, I don't care. This isn't Law and Order SVU. This is fucking Daredevil. Like, this is not your struggle. Your struggle isn't fucking where you're gonna park and cooking while like, shut up. Boring.
Oh, Nicholas, it was I see. I know what you mean. I know what you're saying, but I also think that they're trying to put in
We know this character.
his.
We've had 3 seasons with this character.
We
And you
do.
can't, yeah, and bullshit. And then don't bring it back. You can't do both. You can't be like, oh, we're going to bring this character back that everybody loves and we're all nostalgic for, but we're going to make it accessible for everyone and disregard everything and we're going to relearn everything. It's like, dude, which is it? You're either chasing new subscribers or you're keeping us happy. And no one's happy right now. Anyway. No, too slow.
Do you want to know the answer to that? Do you know about the whole sort of the change in direction that they planned? Have you heard about this, or is it new? Let me tell you. So basically, they were filming it. They had plans to bring it back, this Daredevil show for 8, 16, 17 episodes, whatever. And they had 2 showrunners who were doing this thing with it. The writers' strike happened. I should say the writers and actors' strike happened in 2023. Everything ground to a halt. That the theory is that Kevin Feige was then able to sort of take a step back and look at what they were doing, said, this isn't working. And they said, basically, you're trying... The original idea was to use only Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk in a reboot and scrap everybody else. And Feige was like, no, we're going to completely do this. Basically fired the 2 showrunners and brought back 2 other people who they worked on another show. I forget which one it was. I want to say Moon Knight. Anyway, they
that sounds right.
I think, Moon Knight and Loki season 2 they worked on, and
I
so
hated
they brought in
both of those. I hated both of those so fucking much. So
miserable. But basically, what they did is they wanted to use a lot of the footage that they'd already shot, but incorporate more of the older elements into it, so that it wasn't. They weren't. The thinking was that they, with this tone, with this whole kind of shift, they wanted it to be clear that it was a continuation of the Netflix show, and at the same time making it accessible to newer viewers if they hadn't seen it. So it's like that kind of the original version of it was not really honoring the Netflix show. They wanted to completely restart it, which Kevin Feige thought, no, this is going to be too confusing for people who have been fans of that original Netflix show, which, I think that's good on him because it was a really good show.
Yeah.
And really done, and we shouldn't ignore it. So it is meant to be a continuation. How it kind of folds into all the MCU stuff is, who cares at this point, but that's yet to be seen. And I think that was a good choice to bring back, not just to bring back Karen and Foggy, if only for the first episode, and Bullseye. And also because of that strike, because of the writer strike, they brought back the actor who plays Vanessa Fisk. She originally was recast, but because of the writer strike, they pushed back the filming, and then the actor was able to come back. Yeah. And who else? Like a couple of other people, new people I don't remember. And we'll see what happens. But I think it was a good choice. And I do think that it was, there were parts in the first episode that were very slow. I was like, I get that you're world building. I get that you're trying to develop these characters' emotions. I need more action now.
Yeah, as long as that was the first 2 episodes and that was it, that's fine. Because I was thinking, like, this cannot be 18 episodes of this, whatever this is. It can't be this. Because what is?
How do you feel about the courtroom stuff? Because I know I was afraid as soon as I saw him in the courtroom doing like legal stuff, I was like, oh, it's a bit too She-Hulk. I don't want to do this. But do you think it wasn't enough? Was it too much?
At least She-Hulk was connected to her superhero character the whole time. Like, it was courtroom stuff as She-Hulk, and like it was related to it because he was, I'm not doing this anymore. And I get it. It's the beginning of the season, blah, blah, blah. And he's going through his emotional journey. It's just like, but then there's no Daredevil. I'm just watching fucking Matt Murdock, and I don't.
Yeah.
This is courtroom drama. It's not courtroom drama for superheroes because it's not even because even the White Tiger,
yeah,
isn't a superhero. It's just a dude in a white outfit. It's like
with a mystical amulet.
Oh, he does have a mystical amulet. I do apologize sincerely. Apparently, that actor's died. Like
Yes.
he
So
died of cancer. My God, how depressing.
so he had like a little shout out thing. What's it called? Like when you have like a
A
special
dedication?
dedication. Thank you. That actor. So I
Yeah.
looked him up, and he like died shortly after the strike. It was like Christmas Eve or something like that, just 2023. The character has not shown up in the MCU before, or in the Netflix show before, has he? Is he brand new?
No, he's a comic book
Okay,
character. My Tiger's a comic book
yeah, yeah.
character, but
So I read. So you probably know this already, but that character is the first. Oh God, I'm gonna get it wrong now. It's the first Latino superhero,
oh, probably, yeah.
and I think Puerto Rican, but I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. But the actor
I
was
think
also
so.
Puerto Rican, and so he was looking forward to all that, and then he tragically passed away like just over a year ago, and so that. But the thing is, he introduced like, oh yes, he's got like he's been fighting these vigilantes, and he's got a mystical amulet, and they're just going with it. It was it was a little bit sort of like, boom, here we are, and we're just going to jump into it.
I didn't have his mystical amulet on him. I was like, sure, whatever.
What's the world building in terms of like other vigilantes? I'm not sure.
Puerto Rican.
But yeah, but in the courtroom stuff, I thought it was just enough, but not too much of the courtroom drama. Because, like you said, we're watching a show called Daredevil. We're not watching a show called Murdoch Esquire,
Yeah.
Public Defender.
As long as it's like from now on, if he's doing, whether he's the good guy, whether he's the bad guy, it doesn't matter. As long as he's doing stuff, I don't mind the courtroom relating to like his struggle as a superhero and by night, that sort of stuff. That's fine. I like all of that. But without that, with like the dead stop and two episodes of just that, I'm like, let's get to it. Let's get back to it. And then the final moment of episode 2, I'm like, okay.
Finally. It's like
here we go. Because otherwise it's just like listening in on conversations. So.
You kind of can't go back from that now, Matt. Like I mean, it was a really well done fight. Like
it was a good fight. It was exactly what you want. It was like messy and shitty and painful
messy
and like
gritty and real.
Yeah, that's what we want.
I wonder because I thought the fight scenes in Echo were top notch. Like they were so good. I wonder if it's the same choreographer. I wouldn't be surprised.
Possibly.
Yeah, but like
in the original Netflix show, it was the same fight double as Captain America from the MCU.
Oh, really?
That's why it was so fucking good, because it was
the same Matt Murdock double.
So Chris Evans is stunt double. Apparently, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but whatever, who cares? Chris
You're
Evans.
Not watching this. You're not listening to this show for the.
You're not listening for accuracy. The name, it's in the title guide. Is the same guy who did the first season, or I think the first season, or whatever, of Daredevil. So that's why all that fighting is fucking brilliant. And he went on to become he was then the stunt coordinator for Avengers Endgame and everything like that.
Right.
And was Steve's double. So when he fought himself, remembering that, and he said America's ass, is like, that was him. Because he was his double ass, fought him. And then he became a director, and he directed that weird piece of shit Netflix thing with Chris Hemsworth, which was garbage but really fun.
Like a film?
Yeah, it was like he was in India, and like it was a hostage thing, and it was just non-stop explosions and jumping through things. It was garbage but brilliant. I loved it. And he directed that. Anyway,
this is what you do when a stunt coordinator gets the
exactly
gets the camera or whatever.
So it was, Netflix, the original show was very focused on the fighting, the stunts. That was the pivotal part of it. And I guess without that for 2 episodes, it feels like this isn't what we're here for. It's just a guy in a courtroom. Like who is this for if it's not painful, shitty, brilliantly done fighting? Because that's what Daredevil
there has to be that. And I feel like I think we have a good episode and a half worth of him struggling with who he wants to be, and I've given that up. But the struggle has to be: can you really give up? Because we as viewers know that he's not gonna. He's eventually gonna have to go back to it. Yeah. So the struggle has to be interesting. And if the struggles are interesting, then we're just like, then we're bored, like you said. Like you and I were both bored by the end of the first episode, and like, the struggle it has to be something like how he figures that out, not whether he does or doesn't. It has to be like, how is he gonna justify doing this? Or like, even there's a scene where he's like outside of a church. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he's like a super Christian,
super Catholic, and
I was like, oh yeah, fine, we'll use that then, and he can sort of battle with that. And in the original Netflix show, he was talking to a priest for a time, wasn't he?
And a nun.
About his
He hung out with
and
a nun for a big part of it. That might
I
have
don't
been
remember
season
that one.
3. That
Maybe
might
it
have been
was.
season 2.
But like that was fine. Like I don't like sort of too much religion in my shows that I watch, but like I get it because that's part of the character,
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, as long as it's not preaching it, literally.
But there was
yeah.
there's no struggle like that in the first 2 episodes, and I get that. Like if you're trying to like revamp the whole show, you got to use some of that footage. I get it. I'm giving it benefit of the doubt because I know they have to they change tone, but they still want to use a lot of the footage from the first 6 episodes, whatever they shot, and intersperse it with the new stuff. Great. I think it's fine. I'm excited to see where it goes.
As an American, how do you feel about the Trump analogy of Wilson Fisk?
As an American, I think I couldn't help but watch that with like metaphorical fingers over my face. I was like, are they gonna be obvious about it? Are they gonna make it overt or something? And they never did, which I think is fine. I think that they were just sort of pushing it a little bit, like just enough to make you think about it, but they weren't trying to make a political point, which I think is fine.
I think it was really as a massive lefty, I think it was well done because this was from the comics, I think before Trump. He became the mayor.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Before Trump, and everyone's been mayor in New York. God help them all. But I think it was done just really well, just the way you saw the people like cheering in the street. Because in the olden days, we would have been like, who the hell would have voted for Wilson Fisk? But we've lived through it twice where they sure as fuck fucking did. And you could see it happening when people are like, yay, he's going to make everything different. Like, I think it's a case of like life making the art better, because they could have done this story anyway, but because it's actually fucking happened, it makes it like not bonkers. Like anyway,
like I don't know if you know this about runoff elections. So I was aware that this is true in California for like if the governor was recalled or whatever. I didn't know it was true in New York as well, but maybe somebody, if anybody's listening who's from New York and they know this political system, great.
Please.
But when you have a recall election, like if the mayor if their governor or something was recalled, then when you have a new election, it doesn't have to take place on like election day or whatever. It's just whenever they choose the day. But the important thing is when there's a recall election, you don't have like anybody can apply. As long as you have enough signatures. You don't have to be like the nominee for a political party. It can be any number of people who can just get signatures. And then oftentimes it's happened in California. We have like a ballot of like 20 people. And that's what some people believe how Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governor, because people recognize that name. Like, I'll just vote for him because,
You absolutely would, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Regardless of the political party. So I was watching to see if they were using the colors red and blue with Wilson Fisk.
They were careful not to, yeah.
They were, but I remember there was a bit of both. Like, I didn't even look at his tie. I don't think the ties matter anymore nowadays. But like when they show his election results as a win or whatever, I think it was red. But then another shot, and it was like behind a blue background. Yeah. And I think they're intentionally doing it, intentionally not saying political party, because that's not the point, I suppose.
Well, I don't think Wilson Fisk would be a Republican necessarily. He would be independent because he's a psycho crazy person. Like he's
probably a libertarian. He's like doesn't like corporations or something like that.
I don't know. I'm not a massive. My knowledge of him isn't great, but
is it explicit in the comic books ever?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, because again, it causes problems. But
sure.
He's not.
Yeah, but the thing is, like with a recall, you don't have to have a party anyway. So it's completely believable that he's just running as like you said, an independent.
He would never like fit in with the Republicans. Fisk as a character.
I don't know. Well, one thing I thought that you mentioned that the show did really well is, regardless of I don't think the tactics that Fisk uses on the show are very similar to what Trump does in the world, but the reactions of the people. It pretty much is, because this is as the BB report, who I don't know if she's a character that's important or not, but like those those shots where she's like basically interviewing people on the street are really effective, because not only does it show you the divisiveness of that political environment, it also brings a level of a street level groundedness to this show, which I think it really excels in, because Daredevil isn't like a cosmic superhero. He's not even like a sort of a global superhero. He's just like he's literally fighting for the streets of New York,
which is great if he does some fucking fighting.
Which would be great if he actually did.
If he did some fucking fighting.
Yeah, just the whole sort of like, I'm just gonna trust the system. Like that, we know that doesn't work.
That's crap.
So yeah, I thought the reactions did well.
No, I agree. I just hope that I'm extra hard on it because I'm a bitch. I don't care. I'm hoping
you are, but
now I think because
I think your bar is higher.
Massively, because you can't just phone in fucking TV shows now. It's like,
especially this one.
Like, don't do it. Yeah, it's when it's boring and slow and or whatever like that, and it's like, who is this for?
I don't know.
There's a billion different things, and you're like, oh, we're gonna do another season of Daredevil. We're gonna do the Punisher season or whatever. It's like, just bring the fucking X-Men in. Stop dick licking around.
That's what it always comes back to, doesn't it?
It's like, you had to do this. What's the thing where it's like something breeds creativity, like, your limited resources breeds creativity, whatever.
You mean like no necessity is the mother of invention,
something like that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Necessity is the mother of invention. They only had these handful of characters that no one knew about or didn't give a shit about, so that's why they're like, right, we have to make them interesting, and they made Daredevil interesting because they took such a different approach to it, and it was brilliant. And now, but they're not even. And if you're not doing that with him, and you're just going to make him just another white dude with CGI, questionable CGI.
Yeah.
Why have him? Why have him? We'll have any of the other characters that are way more fun that you now have the rights to. That's my beef with it. It's like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it just because you think, oh, we have the rights? We did this before. It's like, that's not interesting. You have to do something interesting with it. Like Agatha did something weird and interesting with it.
Yeah, and she's a minor character as well.
Exactly.
In the comics, like people don't really think about her. No, I get it. I think it's still being a little bitch though, which is fine.
That's my job here.
I know.
My job is to be the little bitch. I have been a Marvel fan since I was 12 years old. You can't just throw shit on a screen and say Marvel Studios is like this.
That's not a criticism for you. That's not a criticism for you. I'm just thinking like, yeah, no, you're right. I think that also I'm going to give it a chance. I mean, if they continue, like they hooked me for at least one more, and if they can pull off the next episode and get back to what we want to see, then it will be fine.
I was this close to being like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. It was dangerously close.
So close. And because of that last final fight scene where you like, not even the thing, like he could, like, apparently he's going to go down a darker path and he's going to be a rebel and that sort of stuff. I was like, I'm here for that. That's fine.
Fine.
That's a journey. That's fine. Whatever. We've seen it before, but that's fine. It works for him. But I was this close to being like, you're taking too long with this. I don't need this. But yeah, he's good. Plus, he's hot as fuck, so it's always fun to watch him.
I appreciate him more than I used to.
Yummy.
Which is good. What else could we say about it? Because I had a. Oh, do you want to talk about like brief catches, glimpses of Easter eggs that we saw? Because I
didn't see any.
Just a couple of things. When Fisk does his sort of his rant about vigilantism, he's like, we can't have people wearing a devil costume or a spider costume, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is New York, isn't it? Is this going to appear?
The question is,
I don't think you will, by the way. Just whatever.
No, the question is that I've had from other people: is this the same Daredevil as Netflix? Is this the same Daredevil as the Spider-Man? Is this the same Daredevil as the She-Hulk?
Yes. Is my short answer, educated guess.
As She-Hulk?
I think that his appearance in She-Hulk was the most separated from what we expected. Like his appearance in Spider-Man was just like, a fun cameo, and it worked. It was believable. It was fine.
But it just means that like he's in the same universe, because I know that they always mentioned it. They always talked about the fight in New York. They were allowed to hint at it. So I don't think it was in. I never thought the Netflix shows were in a separate universe. I like Agents of Shield was. Agents of Shield in a separate universe.
Yeah,
I thought they were. I thought they were in the MCU universe. They were just down on the street level and didn't interact with them. That's my opinion.
I remember that. And I remember thinking like, how come they're not explicitly saying it? I remember thinking like, well, it could be, but they're not saying it straight out because they want to keep their options open or whatever. Like if something happens, they're like, hang on, that doesn't gel with something that happened in the show. Like fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know where Agents of Shield sits, because that's become too distinct. You can't really tie that in as well as you could with these Netflix shows. You could make a universe where the Netflix shows happened. You can explain everything, like why does nobody talk about the blip in these Netflix shows or whatever, or why does nobody do this, blah 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 blah, because it's a different level. It's street level.
Also, they were canceled.
You can't do that
before the blip. Yeah, I feel like they ended before.
Maybe you're right.
Possibly, but yeah, I in my headcanon, they could be easily part of the same universe. So him in Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was just so weird.
It feels different, and I know She-Hulk was a weird show, and I'm so sad. I'm sad the CGI was crap, because I loved the show, but the CGI was bad.
I love the show, but I understand
different costume. He was in a different place. His attitude was completely different. He didn't reference Karen, Elektra, Claire whilst he was hooking up with She-Hulk. So
yeah,
it felt plot.
Who's Claire? Claire Temple? Claire?
Who was Claire? What's surname? I don't know her fucking surname. Rosario Dawson.
Claire Temple, yeah.
Okay.
The nurse.
Claire, yeah. Claire.
Rosario Dawson, yeah.
How many Claires are there in this show that you need
I don't
to
remember
clarify the surname? Claire from Daredevil. Oh my god.
Okay, fine.
But like the fact that it's not like he was hung up or referenced the fact that he had, all three women on at the same time in the show, and then went to LA to go fuck She-Hulk. Like, all right, sure, why not? So
yeah, what was he doing there?
Fucking She-Hulk. Aces.
So it was.
Good for you, Matt.
It's still technically the multiverse. Yeah, no, good for both of them. Good for them. Good
for you. It was such good chemistry, and they worked so well together. Both actors and the characters worked really well. It was a different. It feels like a different Matt Murdock. Anyway, at least a little bit. He was a lot sluttier.
Multiverse.
Exactly. She came out of the screen in it, so it doesn't really matter. So
that's true.
I would say he's definitely this. I feel he's definitely the same Netflix one, and he's the same Spider-Man one. But we'll leave She-Hulk.
Yeah, that's fine
for now.
I don't know how they're going to work that out, but they've got so many things they need to work out. There has to be. I don't know what. Okay,
it's going to be a mess.
Someone mentioned the fact that Marvel does its projects, i.e. the films and the TV shows, they're basically really, really siloed. And of course, they take years to develop. I don't know why they don't. If they do, I can't tell. But why don't they hire somebody like a continuity manager or something? Like,
isn't that what Kevin's fucking job is?
That's why he's doing other. He's a CEO. He can't do that. He needs a person like some comic book nerd. We're available, Kevin, if you're listening, to just sort of keep with the continuity of across all projects, because you can't have something that appears in one film and then don't mention it for two more years.
That's literally his job. That's why he's the creative director for the TV, the films, and the comic books. That's his. They put him in charge of all of that. It's like, if he's not in charge of all that, he's not writing, he's not directing. His whole job is to be like, what are you writing? That doesn't work out with what they're writing, so fuck you, don't do that. Where was
in the timeline, this comes after this one. You have to mention, like...
Exactly. That's his whole job. He does that for all three different mediums. That's the whole purpose of him. Where was he when fucking Multiverse of Madness was made? It's like, read the fucking WandaVision scripts, you assholes. Anyway, I can't talk about that again.
Why does Nick Fury not give a fuck about Skrulls in the Marvels? It's like... Because that came just after Secret Invasion. It's like, why nobody talks to each other.
Which is, yeah, but the thing is, like, because they've talked about that before, like, critiqued that before. I was like, but then I hope they get the message. Guys.
Hope they get the message, yeah. Because now that they had to slow down with the writer's strike and with the whole Jonathan Majors thing, it's like, you have this opportunity now to take a step back and sort of reevaluate how you're coming at this
because
massive universe.
it makes sense. You either do it like,
They
fuck
said you
it doesn't
eat.
matter. You
Yeah.
either do it like, it doesn't matter what's going over here. Like, they're going to do their stuff. They don't interact with them. Let them do their own thing and completely
Yeah.
silo them. It's like, these guys are in space. These guys are in New York City. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Or you fucking use your multiple channels to, you don't fuck
If
it
you
up. I'm just
if you're using
tired.
characters significantly between projects, like you have to have some communication. If you have a film that's set in the 90s that doesn't matter, or like Fantastic Four, we think it's going to be, whatever universe it's in, it's going to be it's in the past. You don't have to be as connected, but you have to have, I don't care, do cameos, whatever. But if you have a character that's going to clearly be one after the other, you have to have this
And if you
through line.
and if you make a continuity mistake, fix it with a retcon. This is what happens in comic books all the time when they're like, "Oh shit, you guys, we just used that character over in Avengers and we just killed them off." It's like, right, well that was their long lost twin. Fix it. Like, it's your job to fix it.
The MCU soap opera. Welcome.
Exactly. That's what the whole reason Marvel is. It's a soap opera with superpowers. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Anyway, back to Daredevil.
So what do you? I was just going to say, what are you looking forward to the next couple episodes? Because I think we've got like one a week, and then one of them is like a two-parter, so it's having two in the same week. And
I don't know.
Total of 9 episodes.
Are
you just ready for the ride? You're just ready for the ride. It's like
it's gonna be episode by episode. Poof. Like, if it's not interesting, like if I'm like, so let's just watch Daredevil, then I'm just not going to. The way I did with Loki, like I made myself watch Loki because we wanted to talk about it on the podcast, and I made myself watch it. And I was like, this was a waste of 4 fucking hours of my life. I could have stopped at 2. Great if you love it.
You mean season 2?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Season 2 of Loki. Like, great if you love it. That's fine. But like, I was so bored. I'm not going to bother with this. That's going to be with, like, if Daredevil's not interesting, I'm not going to watch it. Boo-hoo, they're so upset. But you know what I mean?
It's fine. I know, I get it.
Just make good TV. Just make good TV. Like, guys, just make good TV. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't need to be something special or crazy. Like, we refer to Echo quite a lot because it was a random fucking show. But it was well made. And
it was well made.
And it was
in its own universe.
It tried to do this, and it did that, and it was done. Like, it didn't
try. It was great.
And that was great. Done. And just make good TV, guys. Just make it good episodes, good character growth, good story, some twists, fight. Just
put a cameo in there or two. I don't care
if you want.
Like, if you tell a good story and you are clear about how it connects to the greater story, and if we use Echo as an example, like that connects to the greater story not much at all.
But she shot him in the face.
I was just gonna say that's Kingpin. No, she shoots him in
Hawkeye.
But then he tries to re-recruit her. But like it was very clear that it fit in like this. And what was my point?
I don't know.
My point was that's the last TV show, the last MCU TV show that we've had. And so this, I think Daredevil's got some big fruits to bill. Because
I agree.
It's basically the next story. We're now progressing the MCU story a bit further because Deadpool didn't. What if season 3 didn't? Like, what if we've had no MCU story? The next chapter of this soap opera is Daredevil born again, and
Daredevil's not going to move the MCU soap opera forward.
No. I don't think it's going to make any big shakeups, but I think it's something that we're looking forward to because it is going to give an indication of what's next. It is still technically the multiverse saga. The
expectation or hope I have is that, as I said, it makes a good TV show. Like, it finds its place to break free from this MCU format that everything has to link back to a film. Everything has to be a bigger part of thing. And it's a movie that's broken up into 6 episodes, a la Secret Invasion. Just be good TV. You can do it. WandaVision. Agatha. Make TV for TV's sake. And if they do that well, Jessica Jones can come back.
Yeah, Agatha, of course. I mean, that was
Because it
also a
didn't have
TV show.
expectations. WandaVision had some, but not a huge amount because all the bros were like, "Who gives a shit about Scarlet Witch?" So it had that kind of, and Agatha, like no one cared about that. So it had the freedom to not be like, all this fan expectations. You have to do this. You have to make sure you do this. You have to give the fans what they want, because you do have to give the fans what they want. Otherwise, we won't keep watching it.
Yeah,
Um, Whereas that didn't. So they have to find a way to be like, we're making this, and this is what we're making. Here's TV. It's good. Enjoy it.
yeah.
Shut up. Not
I don't
everything.
know why I forgot about Agatha, but of course that's a TV show that was in the MCU as well, obviously. But again, that
Well,
was its own. It was its
free
own
from it. Yeah,
encapsulated thing.
exactly. It told its
Yeah,
own story. It didn't have to connect to
it
everything. And
knew
so,
it
yeah.
knew how it fit into the greater story.
And
It knew exactly how it fit in because that was
it
the
knew what
point.
it wanted to do. It did something different, that sort of stuff. So if they can take that approach with this, great. And if it does a good
Yeah,
job, then we can have more of it. But oh my god, not more Punisher, more whatever. But I would like Jessica Jones because I thought she was great.
she's my favorite.
Season one of Jessica Jones is some of the best TV I've ever
It
seen.
was really good. I would
Fucking
like
phenomenal.
her. I would like some Luke Cage as well because I don't know. I don't think I've
He
seen
was
enough of him.
phenomenal. Like he was Luke Cage, and he was
Yeah,
incredible. But it got just a little bit. There's street level, and then just people on the street. Like it went a little bit far too
was that
too
season
man about.
two?
Yeah, I couldn't finish it. It just became too
I haven't seen season two,
human, and I
but
was like,
season one
but
was good.
you are still a superhero. Like we're only interested in your human stories if it's a superhero story. Otherwise, I'm just watching
Yeah, and
CSI or and
that's the
Law and
same. You say
Order.
the same thing about this show.
Exactly. You can't just be, oh, it's a man on the street. It's like, I don't care about a man on the street. I care about a super person on the street. So that's where
Yeah,
I didn't relate to it as well. But
I want to see more of the, like he's promising. I want to see more of him.
we'll
Danny Ryan can fuck
see.
off. I don't care. But also,
No, we'll see.
the cop that had a Punisher skull tattoo on his arm. What's
Yeah.
that about?
Well,
I don't know. Is
the
it
only
is it
thing
valid answers?
my only insight is from comic book queers, so I will not take this thing, is how a lot of the police adopted the Punisher sign as their like police symbol. I don't know, after Black Lives Matter or at what point or whatever. So a
Right.
lot of them were wearing the Punisher symbol, which we would like to point out. The Punisher would shoot you in the face in a second.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
not be on your
No
side.
qualms.
Not a hesitation, and we've seen him do it. So you guys are on the wrong side. So if it's like that, that's also quite telling of your country's
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. They're like, oh,
Symbolism.
we fight against the man, and then Frank just shows up and is like, you're and shoots him in the face. It's like, great,
Yeah.
that'd be
I
great.
hope he does. I hope he does.
I hope he does too. But again, like I don't, because again, when Punisher season 2 went on, I was like, oh, there's a kid here, and I'm like, just oh.
Oh, now suddenly you have morals. Okay.
Oh god, it's like, oh, they're gonna help this kid. It's like, oh god, the old what is it, the lone wolf trope or whatever. Whereas season 1, where he's still kind of connected to from Daredevil, and Karen's
Yeah.
in it, and he's like, great. And then it's like, oh, but what if he's just a man on the street? I'm like, oh, shut up, guys, come on,
Yeah.
shoot people in the face.
They do that because it's easier TV to make because
Of
it's
course,
easier
of
to
course.
shoot.
Yes, of course.
There's less CGI if you're just a man on the street.
I don't want that. So we'll see. Like, I don't,
But
but I also don't want
it's
it to be like overdoing it. It's like, oh, we're bringing back Punisher, and we're bringing back Jessica, and we're bringing back Luke Cage. What the fuck would they do with Iron Fist? There's no way they're bringing him back.
I want one, maybe two cameos of other superheroes. That's it.
I don't want.
I know we're promised like we've got the Matt and Fisk and Bullseye. I don't know if he's, and then we've got a new villain who I know nothing about, which is great. And as
Who?
far as heroes, it's called Muse. No, you don't know. Do you know this person? Apparently it's I don't know. I don't want to. I have no idea, and I want it to stay that way.
No.
Yeah, he's the one that's painting Fisk on the wall.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I didn't know that.
Nope. No idea.
Someone told that to me, but like basically there's going to be a sort of a villain. Anyway, in terms of superheroes, you have the White Tiger, who's the brand new one, and if we have one cameo, I'll be happy. I'm like, cool, it ties in. That's fun. Now go away. Go back to whatever you're doing before.
We'll see.
We'll see.
TBD. And that's it. If you... what do we say at the end? I've forgotten.
I don't know. If you have any ideas, well, what's going to happen? Did we miss anything? Did we get something wrong? Like, write in, let us know. We love hearing from our listeners. Our email address is incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. We read every email. If you want to get in touch with us on the socials, we're on TikTok and Instagram. Our handles there are @incompletegeeks. Give this episode a like while you're there. Well, I don't know if
whatever you want.
Right now. We're on this. And share it with your friends. Tell everybody, like us, follow us on those socials while you're there. Like our stuff, it helps us out. Because we are at the bottom of our hearts. At the end of it all, at the end of the day, we're fans. We get things wrong sometimes. We speculate. We're not complete geeks,
but we are working on it.
Are we? Yes. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye. You're muted. Why are you talking muted?
I was pretty sure I unmuted it because I coughed. You're welcome.
Yeah, but there's such a loud background sound. Have you got a fan on or something? Or is it just traffic?
Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's really
That's loud. My computer.
Oh my god. Babe, you need to upgrade.
That is my 11 or 12-year-old Mac.
Dude.
Can you hear it?
It's like, it sounds like traffic.